Picture this. She's sitting across from you, her hands trembling slightly, eyes darting away every time your voice softens. The air is heavy, not because you're shouting, but because you're calm. And that's what terrifies her most. There's a kind of silence that doesn't need volume to cut deep. You're not asking questions. You're not demanding proof. You're simply observing. And in that stillness, something inside her starts to crack. Most men think you need to confront, accuse, or catch someone red-handed. But the truth is, guilt doesn't respond to aggression. It responds to awareness. There are 8 sentences, 8 simple lines that can make a cheating wife panic and confess. Not because you forced her to, but because her conscience can't bear the weight of silence anymore. See, these phrases aren't tricks. They are not interrogation tactics. They are psychological mirrors, words that reflect the truth she's been trying to hide from herself. When spoken calmly, they don't just reach her ears, they echo inside her mind, forcing her to face what she's been running from. Think about it. How do you expose a lie without saying the word liar? How do you make someone face themselves without raising your voice? You do it by understanding that guilt is louder than any accusation could ever be. This isn't about revenge or dominance. It's about clarity, because when you know how to speak not to attack, but to awaken, you regain control. You stop chasing answers and start watching reactions. You stop looking for evidence and start reading silence. And that's the essence of Stoic power: stillness that disarms, composure that reveals, presence that exposes. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how 8 carefully chosen sentences can turn guilt into confession. Not through force, not through fear, but through the invisible power of words, the kind that make the truth reveal itself. Praise number 1, you've changed lately. Want to tell me why? You start simple, no accusations, no raised voice, just one sentence that sounds harmless. You've changed lately. Want to tell me why? It's calm, it's curious, but beneath that softness lies precision, the kind that makes her heartbeat stumble for a second. That word changed is a mirror. It doesn't define anything specific. It doesn't corner her. It leaves a gap wide enough for her own mind to fill in. And here's the thing about guilt: it hates ambiguity. When you leave space, she rushes to fill it. When you don't accuse, she tries to defend. You'll see it instantly: the flicker in her eyes, the breath that shortens, the sudden need to explain something you never asked for. She'll say things like, "I've just been tired," or "work's been stressful," or "you're imagining it." But what she's really doing is trying to manage your perception. That's what makes this line powerful. It forces her to interpret herself, and in the process of explaining, she begins to reveal not facts but patterns. You're not catching her lie, you're watching her invent one in real time. Most men miss this moment. They hear, "I'm just stressed," and back off. But a Stoic man listens differently. He observes the tone, the pause before the answer, the way her body reacts faster than her mind can craft words. Because when someone feels accused, they defend. But when someone feels seen, they panic. This sentence doesn't demand the truth, it invites it. It's the psychological equivalent of placing a mirror on the table and waiting. You're not asking her to confess, you're asking her to look at herself. And that's what terrifies her most. Because deep down, she knows she's changed, just not in the way she wants you to believe. So the next time you sense distance, don't confront. Observe, say less, let the silence do the interrogation for you. In Stoic terms, power isn't improving her wrong, it's in knowing you don't have to. Phrase number 2, I think we should talk about where this relationship is going. You say it quietly, almost like an afterthought. I think we should talk about where this relationship is going. It's not a question, it's a mirror. And in that moment, her pulse changes not because of what you said, but because of what it implies. This line doesn't accuse, it doesn't point fingers, it simply places her in front of the one thing every unfaithful person fears most: the future. When someone's hiding something, they live day by day, improvising, managing appearances, avoiding depth. The moment you bring up the future, you force them to confront the truth. There is no shared direction anymore. And that realization, it's sharper than any evidence could ever be. You'll see it instantly. A flicker of confusion, a sigh that doesn't belong, maybe a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. She might say, "Why are you asking that?" Or "What do you mean?" But that's not curiosity, that's fear disguised as confusion. Because deep down, she knows what you're really saying. You're not asking about plans, you're asking about loyalty. You're asking, are you still here, or have you already left emotionally? This phrase forces a psychological split. If she lies, her words will sound mechanical. It tells the truth, she risks losing control. Either way, she reveals more than she intends to. A Stoic man doesn't need to expose her. He lets the weight of her own silence do the work. Because when the conversation turns toward the future, a dishonest heart starts looking for exits. Remember this: a woman who's faithful leans into that question she wants to talk about us. A woman who's not flinches, not because she's guilty of a crime yet, but because her soul already left without saying goodbye. So when you say, I think we should talk about where this relationship is going, you're not just starting a conversation, you're drawing a map. and her reaction will tell you exactly who's still walking beside you and who's already gone. Phrase number 3, I had an interesting conversation today. Guess with who? You lean back casual. You're not angry. You're not even curious. You simply say, I had an interesting conversation today. Guess with who? The words hang in the air, light but dangerous like smoke before a fire. You see, this sentence isn't about the conversation. It's about what she imagines that conversation to be. Because when someone has nothing to hide, they'll smile and ask, oh yeah, who? But when someone's guilty, their mind races faster than you can blink. She won't even realize it, but her brain is already spinning stories. Did someone see us? Who did he talk to? How much does he know? That's the beauty of this line. It turns her imagination into your strongest ally. You don't need to accuse, you just plant the seed of uncertainty and guilt waters it for you. Watch closely. Her body will react before her mouth does. She'll tense up, her breathing changes, maybe she'll fake a laugh or ask too quickly. Who was it? Her tone will give away the fear she's trying to hide. Don't answer her question right away. Just smile and say, you'll find out soon. Then walk away. That's it. Because silence after that line is what does the real work. She'll replay every conversation she's had, every message, every word, trying to figure out what you meant. The fear of what you might know is more powerful than what you actually do. Most men chase evidence, but a stoic man understands the mind under guilt destroys itself. All you have to do is create a mirror and step aside. By the time she sits alone that night, she'll already be interrogating herself in her head. And you didn't raise your voice once. Remember, you don't catch lies by asking questions. You catch them by letting silence make the guilty confess to their own imagination. That's not manipulation. It's mastery of awareness. It's the art of psychological gravity. The heavier her guilt, the faster it falls toward the truth. Praise number 4. I just want to hear the truth from you, not from someone else. You look at her steady, calm, almost gentle. Then you say, I just want to hear the truth from you, not from someone else. No anger, no accusation, just composure, the kind that makes guilt feel like a spotlight. See, this line does two things at once. It offers mercy and implies danger. You're giving her a chance to be honest, but also warning her that there might already be another version of the story, one that doesn't come from her. That's what makes it powerful. It triggers two of the deepest fears in the guilty mind. One, losing control of the narrative. Two, being exposed by someone else. And when you say those words, you subtly shift the balance of power. She realizes she's not the one choosing whether or not the truth comes out, only how it comes out. Watch her face. If she's hiding something, her reaction will be instant. Her eyes will narrow, her jaw tightens, her voice drops to defense mode. Why would someone say anything? What do you mean? That's not confusion. That's panic wearing a polite mask. And that's when you stay silent. Because silence after this line isn't weakness. It's the final push that makes her conscience speak. She'll start trying to fill the silence, explaining, clarifying, over-talking. And every word she adds will expose another crack. A stoic man doesn't rush this moment. He watches, he listens, he knows that people reveal themselves when they are desperate to stay hidden. Understand this. When you say, I just want to hear the truth from you, not from someone else, you're not just talking about information, you're talking about trust, dignity, and control. You're letting her know that the story is going to surface with or without her cooperation. And that's what terrifies her most. Because once she senses you already know something, the only question left is how much. Remember, truth doesn't need proof. It just needs time, silence, and the right sentence to make guilt unravel itself. The phrase number 5, strange, isn't it? The truth always finds a way to come out. You lean back calm as ever and say softly, strange, isn't it? The truth always finds a way to come out. It's not a threat. It's not even a statement about her. It's a truth simple, cold, and timeless. See, this line doesn't accuse her directly. It doesn't demand answers. But it does something far more powerful. It reminds her of something she already knows deep down. No secret survives forever. That's the quiet terror of this sentence. It doesn't need emotion. It carries inevitability. When you say it, her mind doesn't hear your words. It hears her own memories. Every lie, every hidden message, every moment she thought was invisible, suddenly feels fragile. You'll notice it. Her pupils shrink. Her breathing changes. Her body goes still. She's not reacting to you anymore. She's reacting to time, because time is the enemy of every secret. And in that silence, guilt does what truth always does. It starts to rise. This line works because it's universal. It could mean anything or everything. And when you leave that ambiguity open, the guilty mind rushes to fill in the blanks. She'll start thinking, what does he know? What did he see? Who told him? That's when the power shifts. You're no longer the one searching for proof. She's the one searching for peace. And that's when she talks. Not because you forced her, but because silence became unbearable. A stoic man knows you don't chase truth. You stand still and let truth find you. Because truth always comes for those who are patient enough to wait. Now let me ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop your country in the comments. I want to know how far this message travels. And if you've made it this far, it means you understand something most people don't. That power isn't in shouting or proving, it's in presence. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because the next part, phrase #6, is where guilt turns into fear and silence becomes your greatest weapon. Phrase number 6. Tomorrow I'm meeting someone who might help me understand everything. You say it almost casually, like mentioning tomorrow's weather. Tomorrow I'm meeting someone who might help me understand everything. And just like that, the temperature in the room changes. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't accuse. You didn't even clarify what everything means. But her mind, it's already racing through every possibility. That's the genius of this line. It's not a statement. It's an invitation for her imagination to destroy her. Because guilt doesn't need details. It creates its own horror story. In her head, 1,000 doors open at once. Who could he be talking about? Did someone tell him something? Is there a message, a photo, a witness? The uncertainty eats her alive. You can almost see the fear bloom behind her eyes. The quick inhale, the forced smile, the question she can't stop herself from asking. Who are you meeting? And that's when you know the line worked. Don't answer, don't feed her curiosity, just let silence linger like fog before a storm. Because silence in this moment isn't absence, it's dominance. Every second she waits for your reply, her mind builds a story of what you might know. And that story will always be worse than the truth. This phrase turns ambiguity into a weapon. The words might help me understand sound harmless, but psychologically they strip her of control. She can't plan, can't prepare, can't lie ahead of time. She's now reacting, and that's when people reveal themselves. Most men think confrontation is power, but confrontation gives the guilty a target to fight. Uncertainty, on the other hand, gives them nowhere to run. That's the essence of Stoic strategy. You don't chase, you don't accuse, you simply stand still and let their own imagination do the interrogation. By morning, she won't fear your words anymore. She'll fear what you might say next. And that's when truth begins to surface, not because you demanded it, but because her mind can't carry the weight of not knowing what you already know. Phrase number 7. If there's something I should know, now's the time. You wait for the right moment, quiet, private, no distractions. Then you say it. If there's something I should know, now's the time. Simple, calm, unthreatening, but to someone carrying guilt, it lands like a blade wrapped in velvet. This sentence does something profound. It opens a door that feels safe yet final. It gives her a chance to step into honesty, but also warns that the door won't stay open forever. The phrase "something I should know" is moral, not emotional. It doesn't say "what did you do?" It says "what truth do you owe?" And that subtle difference forces her to look inward, not outward. You're not demanding facts, you're appealing to conscience. You're saying without saying it. This is your last chance to choose integrity before silence becomes judgment. Watch closely here. Her reaction will reveal everything. If she's innocent, she'll meet your eyes and ask, "What do you mean?" With curiosity, not fear. If she's guilty, she'll look away, fumble, or rush to justify something you never accused her of. That's the human mind under pressure. When faced with a moral ultimatum, truth either rises or crumbles. This line isn't about confrontation, it's about closure. You're giving her the one thing guilt can't handle, a specific moment in time to tell the truth. And when she refuses, she feels the clock start ticking. Because deep down she knows after now, silence won't save her. A Stoic man doesn't beg for honesty. He simply offers the chance for it once. He doesn't say, "You owe me the truth." He says, "Here's your moment." And then he lets the weight of that moment do what emotion never could. Remember, the guilty mind wants control. This line removes it completely. By defining now as the point of truth, you take back power without raising your voice. Because sometimes the most terrifying sound isn't an accusation. It's the quiet reminder that opportunity is running out. And when you say, "If there's something I should know, now's the time," you're not asking for a confession. You're offering redemption and watching whether she's brave enough to take it. I'm not looking for evidence anymore. I'm observing. You say it quietly, steady, grounded, unshaken. I'm not looking for evidence anymore. I'm observing, that's it. No anger, no sarcasm, no challenge, just calm certainty, the kind that freezes every guilty heartbeat in the room. Because when you stop chasing proof, you become proof. You stop arguing, you become gravity, quiet but impossible to escape. This line terrifies not because it threatens, but because it declares emotional independence. It means you've left the battlefield of suspicion. You're not the desperate man searching through phones or messages anymore. You've evolved beyond the need to convince. In that instant, she realizes something has shifted. You're not reacting anymore. You're reading. You're not trying to catch her. You're watching her reveal herself. And that's where true control begins. Because guilt can hide from confrontation, but it can't survive observation. When you look at someone long enough, calmly enough, their own conscience starts to betray them. You'll see it, the restlessness, the small talk, the over-explaining, the way her eyes move faster than her thoughts. That's not random behavior. That's a nervous system begging for relief. And the only relief from guilt is confession. A stoic man doesn't chase storms. He studies their pattern. He knows that when truth is ready, it reveals itself without force. All he has to do is observe. Because silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. And observation isn't apathy, it's precision. When you say, I'm not looking for evidence anymore, you're not giving up. You're saying, I already know. And the moment she believes that the truth begins to speak for itself. Now, I want to ask you something. Of all 8 phrases we've discussed, which one hit you the hardest? Which sentence made you realize how powerful calm awareness can be? Share your answer below. I read every comment myself. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you won't miss the next video in this Stoic relationship series where silence becomes your greatest teacher and observation your strongest weapon. So let's bring it all together. 8 sentences, each one simple, calm, and deliberate. None of them loud, none of them cruel. Yet together they form a quiet storm strong enough to break the walls of any lie. When you look back, you'll see the pattern, the 5 hidden forces behind all of them. First, intentional ambiguity. Every line is slightly open-ended, not to confuse, but to let guilt fill in the blanks on its own. Because when someone is hiding something, silence becomes their loudest fear. Second, the illusion of evidence. You never said you have proof, only that you might. That's enough to make her mind turn against itself, creating a prison of imagination more powerful than any confrontation. Third, the invitation to confess. Each phrase opens a small door, a moral exit. You're not forcing her, you're offering her a chance to face herself with dignity. Fourth, the sense of urgency. By saying, now's the time, you make her realize that silence has an expiration date. Guilt can delay honesty, but it can't escape it. And finally, the stoic tone. You don't accuse, you don't shout, you don't chase, you stand still, watch, and let her words or her silence tell the story. Because true power isn't in control of her, it's in control of yourself. That's the secret most men never learn. The truth doesn't need to be found. It reveals itself when you stop trying to force it, and the moment you understand that you stop being a victim of lies and become a master of awareness. Remember this line, when you're calm, you're unreadable. When you're silent, you're unstoppable. So the next time you sense deception, don't shout, don't chase, observe, speak only when necessary, and let the truth, as it always does, rise to the surface on its own. Now tell me in the comments which of the 8 phrases hit you the hardest. Which one made you realize the power of calm observation? And if this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. Because in the next episode, we're going deeper into the psychology of guilt, where silence becomes a weapon and awareness, your armor.